Okay, so for this video, I'm gonna try and make a thumbnail for my Voices of the Void series. Now, I already had a thumbnail, but it was older art, and I thought, well, it'd be fun for this to do something new. So I'm gonna try and remake it, but make it my own. So I'm gonna just show you my process. Usually, I just start. Uh, it, I have a high thickness brush size, and I go for this kind of pinkish color. And for my first sketch layer, uh, I think, uh, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do something like this. I'm going for that classic pointing Wojak pose. uh, it requires some amount of foreshortening, which I find kind of hard to do, but it's very rewarding. So, you know what? I, this arm, I'm gonna get to it when I'm inking. I think I'm gonna have an easier time when it's actually shapes rather than just gestural lines. Uh, it's gonna be there. Uh, I don't do all the details when I sketch, as you do. I try to capture some of the energy and some of the rough lines to try and make sure that my pose feels the way I want to from the get-go. Just small, not necessarily small details, but just general stuff I know is gonna come up later. Like here, I've cut it in advance. Usually, I'm kind of bad with head sizes. I have this bad habit of drawing the whole head bigger and then resizing it afterwards instead of learning how to do it the right size. Uh, so, well, it's not gonna be a part of the anatomy. So what I like to do is use a separate color for anything that isn't characters. So in the original thumbnail, I have the landscape in game. What I want to do is just a basic flying saucer with like a Martian in it. You know, a little a little funny fellow. Uh, maybe give him one of these. Not too big. I want him to be kind of funny, blurry, uh, just low res alien type creature. I think that works. Maybe just put a moon, some stars in. Okay. Add some trees too. I'm bad with backgrounds, but lately I've been trying to just add them in some more. And I think, uh, personally, the only way I find that I'm able to grow in a lot of stuff I do is to force myself to go in places I'm not comfortable with. So, for example, here, I'm doing a voiceover, which I never do because I'm really, as I've said countless times now, I'm not very comfortable with my own voice when I talk. Uh, and I find that when I try to push myself to do something, eventually it snaps into place. I I find ways. Well, either I find ways or ways find me to make something work. Uh, like a lot of digital art, I wouldn't say reluctantly learned, but I'm very bad with listening to tutorials. And for example, one thing I really wanted to do for a while was VHS effects or CRT TV effects for drawings to make them look kind of like some some retro anime type stuff. I think I did a Tron drawing and a few Transformers drawings like that, and that was a big learning curve for me because uh, a lot of the tutorials on this subject weren't really, either they weren't interesting to me or uh, simply didn't use programs I use. So in the end, with uh, with that whole effect, I haven't mastered it, mind you, but I still learned most of that by myself, and it's something I'm pretty proud of because that was a big journey of trying to notice little details and trying to replicate them artificially. Because uh, the thing is, if you want to do a VHS effect, uh, the obvious thing to do is obviously just actually put something on VHS and then take a picture of that. But that's not within my means right now. It's something I'd like to do. Uh, I think if you've seen the Backrooms videos by Kane Pixels, I think what he did, he had his whole video done digitally and re like he put the whole thing on a VHS tape and recorded that for more authentic VHS effects, and that's something I'm a big fan of. Like it seems so obvious and kind of silly, but yeah, I, sometimes when you want to try replicating something, the best option is to just actually do it. Not sure what how I want these eyebrows to look like. Because the old drawing I used in the thumbnails, it was kind of an older style, not that old. I'd say might date back to like maybe Christmas time or somewhere after that, maybe January. But still, you know, when you're drawing, sometimes little gaps in time, and you learn something new. So you have some new way of interpreting uh, how you go about doing art. And for me, that has happened in a lot of ways this year, because I've been using this tablet. It's a Huion. I've only used it for, let's see, I got it maybe in, I think, November or December last in 2023. And that's been a really great learning experience. Uh, especially since I started off with a Photoshop license because I got it with school. And the thing with Photoshop licenses with school is take it out the moment you do not have a class that requires it. So I ended up switching to Krita like 2 months into learning Photoshop for the I I do know how to work around Photoshop. I took classes for it in a previous school I went to, but it's still kind of a learning curve whenever you're trying to get used to a drawing software. Uh, Photoshop has a lot of great quality of life. The text feature on that is, I'd say, much better than Krita's. Uh, then again, I think I haven't really tamed this program yet. I feel like maybe some of my issues I've been having with it are either like incompetence or just I haven't looked in the right places. I feel that's something that pops up sometimes with drawing programs. Uh, Here, something I've been doing is giving Doodle, when I draw her, I love to give her these like Gonagai-esque sideburns. I don't know why. I think personally it's because I've always associated with that with a certain like his types of hot-blooded characters that face against uh, tremendous amounts of odds, uh, and I think to me that I mean it's no secret that Doodle is like a half self-insert. Like she's not me, but she isn't not me either. And personally, I think having these is kind of like a weird placebo effect where I tell myself, "Oh yeah, I'm like Devil Man, you know, I'm this cool person who doesn't give up ever. I'm hot-blooded." But I mean, if you've been listening to these videos, you'll know that's not quite the truth. I I do tend to persevere with longer projects. Uh, well, I well, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I had a. I'm struggling here. Sorry. Uh, I had a Mecha Girl project I did for a while, and I'll say I did end that one abruptly, but I think it was because I had been doing this for a couple of months, and I was so tired of. Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Sometimes my program merges layers by accident. I don't know why. Yeah, as I was saying, I had been doing that Mecha Girl project for. I want to say I started it in December or maybe January, and only. I don't know when I would have ended it. It, it feels recent, I think. It must have been when I started this semester. So that would have been like this. That that's it's kind of hard. It feels like it's been forever ago because I've done so much other stuff since then. And when I worked on that, it felt a lot like I was doing just one drawing and not getting any progress done. When in fact it was a series of drawings all compiled together. And that feeling of not making any progress was just kind of going into hyperbole, I suppose. Just kind of not realizing that I was making progress in a certain way. I don't like these lines, okay? I'm gonna say it right now, these lines are. Oof. I don't have the most steady hands, but still, drawing digitally it's been a challenge because it does feel like you have to correct your lines way more than on regular paper. Well, depends what kind of paper you're using, of course, but still, most paper I feel when in contact with a pencil, you tend to uh, kind of you don't have any drift, and if you're like me, I press quite hard when I draw on paper, which might be a bad thing because that that just makes grooves in your paper, and if you're erasing, that can be kind of wasteful because then the page isn't as reusable. But still, I I feel like when I'm drawing, this tablet isn't too bad. I've accustomed myself to how it works, and whenever I draw with it, I don't feel that much slip. But I do have moments where lines I feel could be straighter or have better curves. Uh, Sorry, I'm just looking at my canvas. I'm gonna draw. Probably gonna readjust things when I'm done drawing her whole body. I'm gonna make the tits a bit smaller, if I'm being honest, because that's not how I draw usually. And the arm, if I have the arm pointed up, this should also point up. It's kind of a janky drawing method I have going on, I'll say. Uh, it's not very professional. Uh, a lot of people who draw anime type stuff, like me, prefer using gradient shading or really thin lines and precise angles. I personally, like, I'm kind of uncomfortable doing that. It's not something it kind of just stresses me out more than anything to be always on point. But, of course, I tried my best to have my drawings look good. I always want to up the quality and stuff I can make, but still, I mostly draw for fun. Actually, I only draw for fun. I don't think I've ever taken a commission. Uh, and I find that it helps me feel more free in how I approach subjects to just go along and do these sorts of kind of rough drawings to maybe just kind of I wouldn't say it's hard to it's hard to describe. Even if I say rough drawings, I certainly a lot of times I spend a lot of patience, energy, and time on getting shading right. I really like shading. That's uh, shading to me is something I can do really automatically. So there's a certain zen factor to it. I can get into the groove, I can get in there a good rhythm and just keep going at it and do a few steps on a project. Sure, it's if you have a lot of shading to do, it can be really daunting, I find, but it's also really rewarding. If if I draw like shiny stuff, you know, it's no secret. I do a lot of NSFW stuff, and I draw a lot of latex. And what that means, I have to. I think I draw maybe 5 different color per color. So I have a base tone, a highlight, a, a white tone I use. I always, if I do something shiny, I like to have a white highlight on top of my normal highlight. Uh, a dark tone and a darker tone. I think it's called penumbra. The official scientific term for it is. Uh, it's not. I'll say when I draw lewd stuff, it's not really a science to me, but I do like learning about these sorts of lighting terms because when you get into lighting, you find that it's something that's been studied for so long, like even outside of computing and stuff, because like that's what I feel people know, like because we always have like RTX 1080p 60 frames a second 4K ray tracing in our faces with gaming. But even before that, there's so much research that was done around how light affects stuff. Like I find it fascinating that this is like one way to see the world, and I wouldn't say mastered it yet. I don't think humanity has mastered any form of art or any field yet. But I say we certainly found a lot of ways to make light do cool stuff. Uh, I know this is kind of uh, a nothing talk. It doesn't really mean it. I went from talking about how I draw latex to talking about how cool our practice over light is. But you know, a lot of stuff is loosely connected like that in my brain. I feel if you bring up something to me, I can end up talking to you about Mazinger for the next 3 hours. So, I'm not sure how I feel about the arm. I think if I'm gonna remove this and make this line smaller. Here. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to make her smaller because it's kind of bugging me. She looks too much built like a linebacker, and that's not really what Doodle is. That's not really what I see in a pseudo self-insert like her. This, I think if I sorry, it's a lot of redoing stuff. Normally I don't have this much difficulty with these lines, but I find that talking about it has been kind of I've been doubting, double checking myself, because I think like, oh, am I doing that? I'm gonna embarrass myself in front of these people. I'm gonna mess up, and they're gonna know. Yeah, they're gonna know all my secrets. Ooh. So, I think... How long have I been going? I'm gonna check. It doesn't say here. If... Now, my technique for drawing hands isn't the most good, I'd say. In fact, I don't think I have a technique. I basically just do whatever and hope it comes out all right. So I find... Yeah, that... See, I had to double check because I thought, wait, wouldn't this be the pinky finger? But no, it's... See, that's why you gotta double check with your own hands when you're drawing hands. It's weird. It's hard at first. Certainly, it's... I think of all the stuff I've heard artists call challenging, hands definitely come up a lot of the time. It's not... I know it's not something really groundbreaking to know because there's so many videos just about drawing hands, how hard they are to draw, and how much they mean in art. But frankly, I think once you figure out how to draw hands in your own way, I'll say this: there's no universal way I found to draw, especially if you're doing something you want to be unique. Sure, you can always learn more and more fundamentals and perfect how good your skills are, but there's only so much fundamentals can do. Eventually, you have to branch out and learn how you can make your own stuff pop out from the rest. Uh, Now, I think if I see what I'd want to do, I think I'm gonna edit the arm to be... Well, I'm gonna check how it looks longer or shorter or at different angles. See, I think the hand on the original one is a tiny bit better. I can cheat the perspective. That's a thing. But if you want to learn what to do for shortening, maybe don't come here because I tend to cheat my way sometimes like this. Is it... Oh, okay, I still have the selection. Okay, now, okay, I have to do this. Okay, I like to have the hair pop over and under the shoulders when I can, so it gives more depth, even if she's really 2D, and she's made to look 2D. So it's always good to have small details like this that make your drawing feel maybe not living, I'd say, but feels like it's a bit more special. I don't know how I'd say it. Uh, uh, art, to me at least, of that's a ridiculous. See, I messed up again. uh, okay, this time. Okay, this. See, I think if I add a bit more arm to this arm. This has been kind of a disaster of an angle to choose for this drawing, I think. It's not something I'm good at drawing, necessarily, but as I said, you gotta push yourself to do stuff you're not comfortable with sometimes when you're drawing, because weirdly enough, that's how you get good. At least for me. That's how I've always worked. Should be fine. See, if I move the UFO there, it'll fit the canvas more, I think, maybe. And yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna use a curve tool. I'm gonna make this just kind of a silly part of the drawing. Oh, I'm still eraser. I'm not gonna go with a reference for the alien ship. Not even a reference to the game. I think just having a funny flying saucer is well enough. I think, a lot of movies, I'd say recent movies, have tried to like make the flying saucer something that's scary. And usually their answer to this problem has been to make it just like add a bunch of unnecessary details. And personally, I think when you do aliens like this, something that looks silly to us, but to the sorry, I can't get my words out. Something that looks silly, but actually is a huge threat. I think that's great. You know, a little gray guy with a big head who who shoots you with a laser gun. I think that's genius, personally, because that's such a, it's almost a cute creature, but at the same time, it has such malice, uh, which I suppose not all settings you'd want just pure evil aliens, but personally, uh, especially with gray alien types of characters, I like when I, well, they're so alien in a way that uh, whenever they do something evil, it looks like this is something that's normal to them. I know it's stupid to go, oh, this is how it would be in real life. And I don't even think aliens wouldn't be like this in real. I think, well, I don't know what you think about aliens, but I know personally I like the kinds of aliens where you feel like they're maybe not necessarily evil in the Earth kind of way, the human kind of way. Maybe they're more just curious and they and maybe have the kind of naivety a kid playing with toys might have. You know, the kind of stuff that leads to breaking stuff. Like an alien that abducts someone and rips their eyeballs out. They might just think, oh, you know, that's normal on our planet. You know, eyeballs grow back. But they don't know us. To us, that's not a real funny game. I don't know. I feel making aliens evil has always been a figure of debate in science fiction. Uh, of course, personally, I think uh, there's no right way to depict. I know what I said just a minute ago. Sorry. Oh my god. Uh, whenever I watch a new sci-fi movie or read a new book, I go in with an open mind that, well, this person's view of sci-fi isn't maybe the same as mine. That doesn't always work because, of course, my view always comes back up for me. You know, I can't get rid of that. I have my preferences. But I try, at least somewhat, to understand why someone would write something the way they have. Especially with sci fi, because a lot of this medium is. Uh, well, I think a lot of people assume sci fi to, because it has science in its name, that it's supposed to be something that is holds up scientifically. And for I've always found that idea kind of ridiculous, especially when people say, will tell you, well, look you dead in the eyes and say like, oh well, it's so ridiculous that like Back to the Future 2 got so many things wrong about 2015. Like, of course they did. Can you predict the future? You cannot. You absolutely can't. When uh, if you made if you saw a scientific sci-fi story that in some way predicted the internet, that's great. But is that what makes it good? I think personally, I as weird as it might sound, the writing in sci-fi feels to some people like the last thing they want to criticize. A lot of people see sci-fi as mostly, uh, well, as I said, a scientific, like, this is how this thing, this concept in fake science would be in real life, and people get angry because, like, oh, I don't know, lasers don't make sounds, and they don't even make sound in space, but so Star Wars bad or something, you know. Do I really want to get into Star Wars bad right now? That's a can of worms in itself. I'm not gonna give my Star Wars hot takes right now. You know, I'm already rambling enough as is, and if I start to talk about how I feel Star Wars has gone in some questionable directions, I think this video would be much less enjoyable. I'll just say, My version of Star Wars that I like is a version where there's funny Muppets and uh, weird space traders that try to get your money. Frankly, I think that's the essence of Star Wars in a way. And I wouldn't say it's lost, but certainly feels like there's less of it. Uh, I'm gonna do some of these in layers actually. So I'm gonna get to coloring right now. I'm gonna do something simple. So color, uh, shading. The background is gonna be its own layer, as well as the tractor beam. And that's ink. Ink I never touch again, and I mostly keep as a backup in case something goes wrong. So color, I always like to pick a nice reddish magenta for Doodle's sweater. I don't have like a sorry a color palette for her that or swatch I can go back to. I just memorized how I like her colors to be, and usually that works out. I feel. Let's see, maybe. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Uh, I'll have to play around with the fill tool settings again someday because the edging, edging. The edging when two colors meet isn't the best, and I wish I didn't have to do these touch-ups. But you know, it is what it is. Uh, Here, this should be fine. You know, coloring doesn't really take that long on stuff like this. And doodle drawings, especially, are pretty simple to do. I made her really easy to draw and color on purpose because I, I told myself if my self-insert character is hard to draw, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. Uh, For the aliens, I'm not gonna go for grays because I I have this own personal lore I made for myself. It's kind of funny. Uh, for me, gray aliens are like I always thought of them as like space zombies. Like that's why they're gray. They're re resuscitated corpses. I think green Martians are probably just nice. You know, they'd they'd probably fight off the Martians from War of the Worlds for us. They're just little guys, and they probably don't even do scary experiments. I'm pretty sure they just like flying around. And I'm gonna go for shades of turquoise, but really uh, washed out shades to do the metal like this. The inside I can do this. I try to see now. I want more saturation in it. Okay, we're gonna change the main zone. This is good. Yeah, I prefer this. See now I use this, and I feel that's closer to what I want to do. I don't like using just gray tones. I feel it's a bit dull. I always like using grays with a bit of color in them. In this case, I've made it completely green, but I feel it's fine, you know. Uh, I'm gonna do a globe effect right now for that. Uh, let's do a green globe. try something. I'm gonna add in little splotches of green here and use that as a glow effect. Oh, you know what? Actually, if I do this, sorry for Discord going off. I think that looks kind of cool. I'm not sure. You know what? When it's shaded, it'll probably look better. Sorry, I'm just gonna check my Discord quickly. Oh, sorry, back to drawing. And for shading, for hair, brown hair, I like always just an orange tone. I feel like that works really well. Shading, I find when you do these highlight colors, I tend to gravitate towards stuff that is complementary, or I don't remember the exact terms for how orange and brown would fit together, but I try to, instead of lighter tones, I go for tones that fit together, and in that way feel like more light is bouncing off there. I wouldn't say it's true to life, but I've seen a lot of anime shading, especially cell animation. If you look at stuff from the 80s or the 90s, they tend to shade stuff where, like here, maybe you'd even have like red highlights or yellow. A lot of the time, I feel... When did I get rid of the shading layer? Okay, sorry. I did a bit of progress there, but I hate it when they merge like that. It makes me kind of uncomfortable, because if I do a mistake, it's a lot more work to undo. Plus, you know, it's fine. It wasn't that much work. And maybe a bit more here. Do something like this. Okay, so back to it. I like doing this part as just a big single blob of shading. The thing about Doodle's hair is this part I found I draw kind of like a starfish. Not much like research on that, I just think it's funny. What else could I... You know, I add shading really early into... I say early, but I mean close to this edge where there would be light. So the hair is, I'd say I'm happy with it. I'm gonna do skin now. Okay, is it? always test your skin tones before applying. Uh, that's not saturated enough to my liking. Okay, I think this should be. Yeah, that's good. I don't have much skin tone to shade here, so it's relatively quickly compared to like uh, how the sweater is gonna turn out, I think. Okay, so on to shading the sweater. I'm gonna go for a really purple tone. I feel that works. No, I'm gonna erase this from every layer. Okay, that was bothering me, sorry. Uh, no, actually, you wanna get kind of a shade uh, here. You know, I'm just gonna, when you shade boobs, you wanna get kind of a curve like this to represent that they're round. You want to show that there's a shadow underneath it. Same here. At least that's how I do it. You know, don't take advice from me when it comes to art. I think most people who teach art are way better at this than I am in a lot of ways. I just I'm used to my ways of working, so it wouldn't be a good thing to follow my principles to the letter, you know? Because you just learn how to draw like me, and I'd be sad if someone missed out on learning their own style of art because they followed this video. It's not gonna happen still, but you know, artistic growth on your own is something that's just really great, and you don't get to experience if you really follow someone else's method, I feel. Um, these aliens, I'm gonna give them just. I want to give the. See, I messed up because their eyes, they have shading over here, but the light is suggested to be from here. Even in the preview, I drew the moon there. That's gonna be a bit more yellow. I kind of gave them rabbit feet now that I think about it. And imagine if aliens were somehow related to rabbits. You know, Ubisoft made a whole series about fucked up rabbits, so I should shut my mouth before they come and try to sue me. Let's do. I think, yeah, that works. I should have mentioned I put on Doom music. I didn't think about it because there was the announcement for the next game, but I put on the music from Doom 1 and 2. Um, that wasn't intentional. I just needed music I think I can get away with putting on this because I already made my Rambo Val video earlier, and I think that's gonna get me in trouble copyright wise. Not sure. It might happen. The Soul channel might get taken down and you'll never see more doodle drawings. But, c'est la vie. You know? Oh, this I like doing. See, you. This thing. See, so it looks kind of gradual. I like doing that. Yeah. And let's give it a white highlight color. And just make it lean a bit inside so it looks more like a curve. Still not sure about the glass color. Let's go. First try. I'm really happy about this color. I know it's so sometimes you find the right color like that. That saves you a lot of searching. And this, it's gonna highlights. Maybe no. Okay, I'm gonna give it a song. Maybe lighter than this. You know what? Yeah, let's see this. This. Let's add more shadow to it. I see the problem. I'm having my house up one flashbacks from the fucking MIDI music. So that should be it for the shading. I'm gonna add in another layer for the tractor beam effect. Oh my god, I didn't fill it in. Function blur. So we're gonna do the background, yeah. So what I'm thinking, I'm gonna add in a layer of green and just dark blue for the sky. Hopefully that works out, yeah. Gonna do like I did with the last drawing I posted, which had a painted background, not really well painted, but I feel it saves me a lot of trouble that I'd have from drawing trees and stuff. Which is the one I like? This one. So you grab your tone and you experience what I like to. That's the tool. You give a few passes like this to really mix up the color. it's all gonna be blurry after this anyway. But I like to give variations in the grass. I feel it allows it to feel a bit more natural to the eye and maybe a bit more pleasant. I just go for this, maybe a bit of brown. Grass always has a bit of brown in it. And I'm gonna do two. One last pass in green to go over the brown. That's probably gonna be fine when it's blurred out. So next part would be the tree line. I'm gonna do like Bob Ross does it, actually. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna do a bunch of trunks. I can color pick from here. It's gonna make it look a bit coherent. These first layers. I'm gonna do like I did for the grass and do multiple passes of colors. This one isn't really seen. I think I'm just experimenting right now, to be honest, and having fun with it. That's the important part. You gotta have fun. You know what? That tractor beam could be a bit more subtle. Yeah, like that layer. So we're gonna do the next layer. The more colors you add on top, the more it feels mixed with this brush, I find. So if you add like 5 to 6 colors, it suddenly has a lot more texture, and I really like that. Even if these are really basic trees, once they're blurred out, they'll feel more like a blurred out picture. You know, yeah, of course they'll feel like a blurred out picture. That's what they'll be. But see, it's gonna be easier when I get to it. I assure you. For the background, just kind of add it in. It's gonna be blurred out, as I said, but still want to get that in, so just kind of fill in. Of course, when something is darker, you tend to see a lot less details and colors, but you should still try and include multiple colors so it feels less like a big splotch. Plus, you know, these all are all the same size, so actual good artists are gonna be bad at me, you know? I'm gonna add in a little. Let's just add a touch yellow. Blended it with the add dark. Now you know what? Isn't that a bigger deal here? Let's test out my bird theory if it works for this. Kinda. You know what? I'm fine with that. It's gonna be a thumbnail. It's gonna be small. What I can do is add a bunch of shadow layers and just overlay some dark spots. That way it feels more like stuff is hiding in the back. It's really how do I say, it's janky method, but I feel you can get some quick results if you're like me and you really don't like doing backgrounds. Like this is just basically a shitpost almost. So having this be like this way, it's not so bad, I feel. Am I happy with this? I'm gonna add a few stars. That's what I mean. Use my brush. No, okay. We're gonna do. I have a method for stars that I do. Basically, you go like. Space is. Just do a bunch of lines. I got this from an online tutorial. I don't remember the name. Basically, you do this, and everywhere it intersects, you add a dot, and you add a smaller one in the middle, and it gives kind of almost believable star formations. So, if I blur them just a little. I messed up. That wasn't the right layer. You know what? I think as a first drawing thing, as a first drawing thing, I certainly had lesser results because I had to talk at the same time and got distracted. But I think future endeavors, if I don't record the whole thing and just edit it down, it should turn out better. I'm happy with this for a thumbnail. I think it'll be fine. So yeah, I'll stop the recording and save this, and see you next video. So, bye.